Hersheypark has been standing for over a century. It was initially founded by Milton S. Hershey, who was also the founder of the Hershey Company. Today, it draws in crowds from all over the world thanks to its thrilling roller coasters and historical appeal. From Candymonium to the Coco Cruiser, join Viewcation as we take a look at the best roller coasters at Hersheypark, Pennsylvania. Candymonium. Candymonium is the newest roller coaster there, and it's one of the few that actually pays homage to the Hershey Company's status as one of the country's preeminent candy manufacturers. Though candy is sweet and typically beloved by eaters of all demographics, visitors might want to be a bit more selective about whether or not they try out Candymonium. The roller coaster was intended to be the most thrilling in all of Hersheypark. While there are plenty who debate whether or not the coaster actually succeeded in that goal, there's no doubt it ranks at least somewhere close to the top. Candymonium is no joke, despite its somewhat corny name. The coaster reaches a top speed of nearly 80 miles per hour, though it clocks in at around only 2 minutes. Though it's incredibly fast, it's not quite as jerky as some of the other roller coasters in the park. This helps make Candymonium a bit more accessible for visitors who are not as experienced with intense roller coasters. Since its introduction in July of 2020, Candymonium has quickly become the most popular ride in the park. The steel roller coaster is certainly worth the oftentimes exuberant waits that tourists might be forced to suffer to ride it, but there are plenty of other exciting coasters that are bound to have shorter lines than this newest addition. Great Bear. There are still many who consider the Great Bear to be the most thrilling coaster that the chocolatiering amusement park has to offer. It's an inverted roller coaster that's been standing since 1998. Unlike the relatively quiet and smooth Candymonium, the Great Bear is shaky and loud, and this can make the roller coaster seem quite a bit more intense. It features a 120-foot drop, and the fact that it's an inverted roller coaster means you'll get a good view of the ground below you. Skyrush. Skyrush is another considered to be one of the best roller coasters at Hersheypark. It has a lot to offer over the other two we've mentioned. Skyrush features a 200-foot ascent, though it's not a slow crawl to the top. Instead, riders are shot right out of the gate, with the coaster going around 70 miles per hour for the duration of the ride. It was opened in 2012 and instantly became one of the most thrilling rides featured at Hersheypark. Its fast pace makes it so the entire ride is only about a minute long, and riders are likely to feel they're legitimately flying through its whole duration. Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit is a steel roller coaster that opened up at Hersheypark in 2008. It features a 120-foot ascent, but its height isn't all that it has going for it. Instead, it's the steepness of the coaster's main drop that serves as the biggest things that keeps people coming back for more. The coaster's name is a clever homage to the fact that the coaster's aforementioned drop stands at a 97-degree angle. 97 degrees Fahrenheit is close to the ideal human temperature. Given that the majority of the ride is centered on that drop, the ride isn't all that long. But for the duration of the drop itself, you'll feel like time has slowed to a standstill. Before we tell you more, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to Viewcation if you haven't already. Storm Runner. The Storm Runner was opened in 2004. It's known for the fact that it goes from 0 to 72 miles per hour in the span of a few seconds. Once it's reached its operating speed, its riders are in for a series of twists, turns, and loops that will have them feeling like they're being tossed around in a tornado. Skyrush has taken a lot of attention away from Storm Runner, but this only means the lines are liable to be shorter. Both rides are certainly worth checking out. Laff Trakk. There are several things that make Laff Trakk stand out from its fellow Hersheypark roller coasters, but the biggest is that it's entirely indoors. Other interesting features are the fact that its carts spin riders around while they go along the track, and that the entire ride has disorienting funhouse theming. Things can get pretty psychedelic while you're riding the Laff Trakk, and there's a good chance you'll burst out laughing. Lightning Racer. Lightning Racer consists of 2 separate tracks, and these 2 tracks allow for dueling cars. You'll be racing the riders in the car adjacent to you, and it's never a sure thing which of the cars will win. Regardless of if you ended up on the winning or losing car, riding the Lightning Racer is a ton of fun. The wooden dueling coaster was opened up to visitors in 2000 and still provides plenty of thrills. Wildcat. The Wildcat is another wooden roller coaster that opened around the same time as the Lightning Racer. Both were designed by the same company, Great Coasters International. Wildcat opened up in 1996, and when Lightning Racer opened up, it eclipsed the Wildcat in popularity. However, the Wildcat has still been kept around, and a big part of this may be due to the fact that the wooden roller coaster is named after the park's very first coaster ever. The original Wildcat opened in 1923. Jolly Rancher Remix. This roller coaster was formerly known as the Sidewinder, but has since been given branding more in line with Hersheypark's general candy theming. The coaster consists of 3 loops that riders will be shot through at full speed, only to begin going in reverse at the track's end. The reversed coaster then takes riders through the same 3 loops backwards, providing some pretty intense thrills. Comet. The Comet is far from being the most thrilling roller coaster available, but it's notable for being the oldest of the park's coasters that's still in operation. It was opened in 1946. That means it's around 3 decades older than the second oldest ride found in the park. It's a classic wooden roller coaster, and its thrills pale in comparison to those offered by Stormrunner or Wildcat, but it's impossible to deny the charm of Hersheypark's oldest functioning ride. SooperDooperLooper. SooperDooperLooper is the park's second oldest functioning roller coaster. Once again, the appeal of this classical coaster nowadays is largely historical. Following its opening over 4 decades ago, Hersheypark launched a memorable campaign featuring the slogan, "I survived the SooperDooperLooper." T-shirts bearing this slogan became especially popular and are sold at the park today, despite the fact that the thrills offered to riders by the namesake coaster are no longer all that thrilling. Trailblazer and Coco Cruiser. The Trailblazer is a roller coaster meant for families, while Coco Cruiser is one meant specifically for children. Both can be a ton of fun for the right demographic, but will likely prove pretty tame for most adults. Now it's time to hear from you. Have you ridden any of these coasters? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Viewcation if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.